questo è Humans of Non-Profit e qui abbiamo una human del non-profit. Qui con me c'è Dana Snyder. Hello Dana, welcome here.
Hello.
I'm so happy you're here.
Ciao.
Ciao, ok, we're practicing Italian. Proviamo anche un po' a fare in italiano, farò qualche domanda in inglese e qualcosa in italiano. Dana ha fondato Positive Question, è una vera star del non-profit, è molto nota, ha scritto libri, ha una newsletter e cominciamo un po' da questo. Let's start about your career, how you moved to the non-profit and you founded Positive Question. Tell us more about that.
So I started my company 8 years ago. And it actually came about because I started my career working for a nonprofit. So straight out of college, university, I worked for a very small nonprofit. We were a team of 4. And I just had a love for impact work and giving back. But I also had dreams of moving to New York City. I was in Florida at the time. And so I moved to New York City and I worked in the agency space, working with big clients, Delta Airlines, Sports Illustrated, large brands, sports companies, NASCAR, NFL, PGA Tour. And after a few years of doing that, just in my heart, I wanted to go back to the impact space. And so in 2017, I took all of my learnings from working in communications and PR and digital marketing in the for-profit world and went back to nonprofit. And so that's what started my business. And then I really found the passion for regular monthly giving in 2020. And that's really when I became a regular donor. And in the US, the subscription economy took off. And so I started to really realize this connection between the growth of regular giving and subscriptions that we were seeing, like with Netflix and Spotify and Amazon and all of it. But for good. And so it's changed over time, but it's been an 8-year journey so far, and I love it.
Wow, impressive. I love this for good thing. We talk about business for good, we talk about AI for good, and also subscription for good is
right.
a thing.
Exactly.
So it's very interesting. And you also wrote a book, the Monthly Giving Mastermind.
This guy.
Ha scritto questo libro, eccolo qui, fantastico. And you present a framework in 5 steps.
Sì.
Tell us more about your framework.
Yes.
Il framework in 5 passaggi. Ci spiega un po' questo approccio.
So in 2021, I essentially started doing a lot of research on what programs were successful. And I launched my own mastermind, which means a group of people coming together to solve a similar goal. And I figured, which this is maybe a little bit different, is if we create monthly giving programs together and learn from each other, we can grow further because there's shared experiences. So what works for this nonprofit could work for this nonprofit, but if they've never talked before, they might just be trying a bunch of things that might not work. So it was removing competition and creating shared collaboration. And so I've now had 6 rounds of the mastermind. And in the book, I also interviewed 15 different organizations, all the way from very small to having about 26 regular donors, all the way to Charity Water, which you may be familiar with about 70,000 recurring donors. And so their stories and case studies are in here, alongside the learnings from helping launch now over 28 regular giving programs. So the framework really goes, and I'll be talking about this today in a couple different sessions, but breaks down the 5-step framework in which it takes you from creating the product, which I do believe a monthly giving, regular giving program is a product. It should have a name, it should have a landing page, it should have specific copy that pulls in your supporters, your believers, your strongest fans. So bringing you all the way through to retention, which in step 5 is share constant joy and gratitude. So how can you make sure when they click that donate button, they had that magical intent to be part of your mission, and as a regular donor, usually for a very long time. In the States, the average regular donor gives for 8 years, wow, which is phenomenal. And so how do we make sure that with retention, every single month when they see that transaction come across their bills or their bank accounts, they feel the same love and positive energy that they did when they first clicked donate?
Dana ha appunto raccontato il contenuto del libro, che poi sarà anche il contenuto di alcuni suoi interventi qui al Festival del Fundraising, e nasce un po' dall'idea di intervistare tante organizzazioni non profit, e l'idea è proprio quella del Festival del Fundraising. It's a little bit like the Festival of Fundraising here in Riccione, like so many organizations sharing their best practices, keeping in mind that they're doing that for good. So it's a good thing that you share good practices, and so there's not competition, it's more cooperative approach maybe. And tell us more about your speech and speeches today about personal branding, and tell us more. Raccontaci un po' di cosa parlerai oggi al Festival del Fundraising.
So I will be giving 2 different talks here. One will be on the Monthly Giving Mastermind framework, so I'll break down all 5 steps and give examples of each, and have done a lot of research into the Italian market and how it's relative to what's going on here. And then the second one is about your story is worthy. And so this is a little bit different of approach around personal branding and thought leadership for yourself. So how do you, as an individual, share your stories to amplify the work that you're doing as an organization? So much of what we will learn here is normally about what your organization can work on, right? What stories your nonprofit is going to share. Instead, this is a flip. This is about your specific stories and your experiences, because people want to give to people, right? And so this talk is going to be pretty different, and specifically on how can you figure out which stories to tell and how to share them specifically on LinkedIn and how to use that platform.
So it's about humans, actually. And
Absolutely.
we are here, this podcast, Humans of Nonprofit, so you're at the right place, at the right time. But we're also talking about artificial intelligence and all this sort of collaboration between human and AI, and the maybe the headline of this festival, il titolo un po' del festival è Intelligenza Alternativa, which sounds maybe a little bit different in Italian. Intelligenza Alternativa sounds like something which can be applied to people as well, persone alternative, or maybe an alternative way. I don't know how it sounds in English, actually. Alternative intelligence, I don't know. Does it work?
Same.
Okay.
Same.
And what's your, collaboration and relationship with the artificial intelligence? Because we are all using artificial intelligence. Is it going to change everything, or maybe not? Something will stay here and something will change in the future? What's your experience?
I think there's always going to need to be a human element to things. I think it can help expedite, make things go quicker. For example, on the day-to-day, it can help you generate ideas on how to maybe start an email. It can give you ideas on a campaign. It can give you ideas on social media content. It can give you ideas on who to pitch to be on a podcast. It can give you ideas of who to reach out to in the press. However, when it curates a pitch, for example, or an email, it's always going to need that tweak of a human element to make it sound more authentic and genuine and personalized. So I'm definitely not of the mindset of copy-paste. I think there's definitely some tweaks to be made. I also think on a deeper level, AI has a really powerful ability to help us enhance our reporting in programming and really help to create smarter analysis and efficiencies within organizations that might have just taken a really long time. So I think there's a balance.
Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine told me, you have to talk to Dana. She's a rock star, and you're probably the rock star here at the festival.
It's very kind.
Is the AI ever going to be the rock star of a festival about nonprofit? Do you think that the AI has the chance to be something that is worth to talk about at the festival, not from just a technical standpoint, but from a maybe everything that we like, which is not technical, I would say. This is not a technical festival. Questo festival parlerà di intelligenza alternativa, di intelligenza artificiale, ma non è un festival di tecnologia. It's not a tech fest,
right.
Of course.
Right.
Or maybe the rockstar will always be a human on stage.
I think we cannot predict what is going to happen in the next 20, 50 years from now, if there's going to be robots joining us at conferences like this, maybe. But I definitely think nothing will replace the human interactions and the connections. Last night, I had a wonderful dinner with about 15 Italian nonprofit consultants and freelancers that are copywriters and designers, and the experience and the love and the passion that they have, I don't think can be truly replicated. And so I think it won't be ever the hero or the focus point, but I think it'll be an element for sure to talk about. And it's important that we have knowledge around it so that we can use it properly and so that we keep it equitable. I think that's whatever we put into AI is what it's going to start giving back to us. So what do we want AI to learn? So are we shaping it in the correct way so that it can be used in a really responsible manner is really important.
Grazie. Thank you, Dana. Last question. We talk a lot about AI for good. We had an event. There's an event in Geneva about AI for good. Do you think is it our responsibility to make it for good? I mean, the AI, or do you need there's a need for regulations or something? Because in Europe we have a very different perspective compared to the US. Where you live and work mainly, but I know you're also somehow connected to Italy. So what's your point of view on the AI for good space? Do you think that AI can be for good because it's either for good or for bad, or maybe something in between, or is it just a tool? So it's...
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So I definitely think that nonprofits actually should be at the forefront in making sure that it can be used for good. I think it's growing so fast. Like, think about ChatGPT wasn't nearly talked about. Was it at the conference last year? Was ChatGPT talked about in the way that it is now? No.
No, it's very different.
So it's very different. And how we use it in every conversation, how we think about it to plan our travel plans is very different. So I think it is important for nonprofits to, usually we are sometimes so far behind in tech conversations, and I think that nonprofits, because we do think differently about the parameters of safety around tools like tech, should be at the forefront to helping lead what is going to be the proper use case of AI and being at the forefront. Fundraising AI, I don't know if you're familiar with that global movement. They host an event. My dear friends Nathan Chappelle and Mallory Erickson lead it. And they host 10,000 nonprofit professionals about fundraising AI every single year in the fall. And it's really important, I think, for us to have a really solid stance on how it will be utilized in the future.
Okay. This is the real last question. How do you feel about Italy? What's your connection with Italy? We are so happy to host you here. You traveled a little bit, but what's your... feeling about what are your feelings about Italy?
I mean, I think it's gorgeous. I've been fortunate to travel to Tuscany and Rome a couple years ago when my daughter was 4 months old, so tiny bambina, and everyone was so lovely. Now my husband and I are here traveling all around Venice to the Dolomites, and it's just stunning. And I think what's been interesting and why I'm here is a wonderful graphic designer. I see her over there, Marta, started following me in 2020 and read my book and has attended my Monthly Giving Summit. My podcast, Missions to Movements, came out over 3 years ago. And I've started to notice, which always is so crazy to me, how people from all over the world are finding the materials that I've put out, specifically on regular giving mostly. And so the Monthly Giving Summit this year had 5,000 nonprofit leaders from 58 countries, and a bunch of them were from Italy. And so honestly, anytime I can travel anywhere and speak about the importance of regular giving and how to grow a passionate community of supporters to sustain your mission, I'll do that anywhere, but I'm so grateful to be here, and I love this country, and I'm very honored.
Thank you, Dana. So many questions I would like to ask, but you gave us the answers. But we know from the AI that also maybe the role of humans is to make questions and not just giving answers. Do you have any questions for me, or maybe about Italy, or about the festival, or about weather, or what you can eat here in Riccione or anywhere?
I would say, okay, how many years have you attended the conference?
This is the third year, but it's really famous in Italy. Everyone in the non-profit world talk about the festival, and it's not talking about the festival like something which is technical or maybe somewhere where you can learn something, but it's like an event about sharing, about people, about parties, lots of parties, and also Riccione is a place where you can have great vacations, great parties.
See, the beach.
So it's really an event about what we love as human beings, which is wonderful.
Amazing. No, I love it. I would just, any recommendations on the event, the festival, what to dive into, specific speakers, Italian speakers that you think I should listen into? That would be amazing.
Yes, I think, there's something in the air here where you can feel that lots of people are trying to make the world maybe a better place, or maybe just giving something and not just getting from it. So it's you can feel this is for good, really.
Yeah, see.
So there's something.
And I have one more
Any word
question.
in Italian? About passion, of course.
Oh, one more question.
Yeah.
What do you think the future is of regular giving, monthly giving in Italy? Like, where do you think it is on growth?
Maybe we need not another episode, maybe another podcast now. So we can make it maybe like across the Atlantic, so we can have some. I think we know that molte organizzazioni stanno faticando ad acquisire nuovi donatori regolari. I think the subscription model, it works sometimes. It's not working as well as it worked before for younger generations, and I think maybe we are going to get used to something which has maybe spikes of interest, of generosity, and the will to donate to some organization. But I think regular donors are going, of course, to be a thing in the future, but maybe something different. We don't know what's going to change, but we know for sure, maybe for the future, you have to see what remains stable, not what changes, because it's very difficult to predict the future. But maybe people and stories about people, storytelling, and the branding is going to last in the future. So I don't know what's coming next about regular donors. Maybe you know a lot better than me. But I feel that humans are going to be central in this space forever. There's no change, no AI, no new shiny objects that will change the fact that you're connecting to humans and you want to understand the stories of humans and organizations, giving something to other people and doing something for good.
Absolutely.
Which is important.
Absolutely. Agreed.
So looking forward to meet you next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Grazie.